What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916. You tune in to another edition of my vlog. Thank you for subscribing, for sharing my channel. It's growing in leaps and bounds, and I appreciate it. Love your comments, and I like to stay sharing positivity and motivating you guys. And one of the things I want to talk about was the art of the comeback. You know, a lot of people ask me, Big Herc, how'd you get back on your feet after doing, all that time? What'd you do to get to where you're at now? What was your mindset? Well, having done 8 years, 8 months in a federal prison, the whole time I was in there, I never acclimated to the surrounding environment. So I kept the mentality as though I was on the streets, even though I was incarcerated. I never let them have my mind. They had my physical body, but they never had my mind. Never did I look at myself as an inmate, as a convict, as a felon. I just looked at myself as though I was in timeout. I was just passing through. I was on a major timeout to reflect, to meditate, to work on my spirituality and get my direction in the right path. And so when I did get out and I was in the halfway house, I was able to utilize resources that I had tapped into while I was incarcerated to help me make power moves. See, even though I was in a very dark place, I always put out a positive vibe. And that positive vibe attracted other people who were on the same frequency. And together we were able to network and build relationships so that once we did get out, we could all hook up and make things happen, connect on another level. And I met some good dudes. One of the first people that helped me when I got out, shout out to Brother Wang, he blessed me with a couple G's. And with that money, I was able to buy some clothes, get a car, and kind of get some necessities I needed. And this is a person, my Korean homeboy that I met in prison, but he was a good dude and we were on the same wavelength. We were on the same path in life. And he got out before me and he made some things happen and he looked out for me as a result. So I tapped into that energy. That's that law of attraction. Another homeboy that I was really tight with, helped me get another car. After the first car I got broke down. And Mexican cat, racial lines, it don't make a difference, man. You never know who your blessing's gonna come from. That's why I always tell you guys, man, don't judge a person by the color of their skin or by the way they talk or by where they're from. You never know. This guy was from a whole nother part of California, and he said I had a car that was just sitting at my shop. I'm gonna holler at my brother, then I'm gonna make arrangements for you to get the car and just make payments. And I was able to get that car and have something that I could drive. And it was a blessing, man. And so, your blessings come from different places, but you always gotta be susceptible. You always gotta have your mind open so that you'll be prepared to accept them. If you're closed off and you're always looking at the glass as half empty and you're always, blaming other people for your shortcomings, then you're gonna miss a lot of things that are basically right in front of you. I had another partner I went to school with, hadn't talked to him in some years, connected with another friend I went to school with. He told me about the partner that I went to school with was currently living in the area I was, living, being housed at as far as the halfway house. And I reached out to him and he hooked me up with a job. That job allowed me to get the hell out the halfway house and be mobile. And so there again, me reaching out to somebody and they realized that, hey, I'm on a positive wavelength, and they were able to, tap into some resources, and as a result, they helped me out. And so I always try to send out positive vibes, and I just had a mindset that I was going to be a multi-millionaire, billionaire when I got out. See, I wasn't one of those guys sitting in prison who was just happy to be in there, you know, going to work in the factory, trying to make as much money as I can so I could buy a bunch of commissary. You know, that wasn't my concern. See, my concern was bettering my mind, bettering my spirituality, and basically showing everybody that I was better than what you assumed I was. You know, I wasn't just a bank robber. You know, I did have some good traits. I made some bad choices, but I bounced back from that. It doesn't define me. You know, it doesn't make me who I am today. You know, I'm constantly evolving, and I definitely evolved from that person who got locked up at 24 years of age. You know, I'm not that same person, and so I learned a lot from that. But like I said, I utilized resources around me, and I always kept a positive attitude. And even when I was in a halfway house and I only had a limited amount of time to move around, you know, I would go and work out. You know, being in shape was a great door opener. You know, opened up a lot of conversation, and I would talk to people about nutrition, about supplementation, and I got personal training clients like that. And that was another one of my hustles, you know, personal training, and hooking up people with programs so that they can get their health right. You know, and I always articulated myself well. I was always well spoken and well mannered, so I knew how to move into different circles that allowed me to, network with people who had that desire to get, be personal trained, or look for somebody to kind of mentor them. And I always kept my ears open. I recall at one time when I was at a car stereo shop and I was getting my windows tinted, and I seen a guy, Middle Eastern guy. He was in there, getting some stuff done to his car. Had a nice car, and I heard him talking about, something about working out. And I said, "Hey, man, you work out?" "Oh yeah, man, I work out." Blah blah blah. Say, if you ever want to, hook up with a personal trainer, holler at me. I do personal training, nutritional consulting. We can get right. And he's like, "Oh, is that right? You got a card?" Gave my card. Booyah! Next thing I know, I'm training the guy, helping him do meal preps, getting him on point, talking car stuff, and just networking, man. So you got to always be networking, and you got to be in this in preparation, like I said before, to be susceptible for opportunity, and that's what people call luck. You got to be kind of like well seasoned for that. And another thing I did while I was down was I had journals of just notes of business ideas, different places I wanted to go when I got back to LA, as far as restaurants to, eat at, to meet people, places to lunch at. I used to write down different types of clothing I wanted to buy, to dress up in, a bunch of different cars, different cars I wanted to get to drive around in, to look a certain way, and just, I created this whole other me, and I constantly read that, reaffirmed it, wrote down notes, would look in the Robb Report, the Fortune magazine, Wall Street Journal, read articles, Vanity Fair, Success magazine, all these different magazines, and then I studied a lot, and I just kept formulating. So by the time I got out, I had so much already stacked up as far as for different directions I want to go in. As soon as I hit the streets, I was running. I wasn't one of those dudes stuck because I wasn't playing dominoes, I wasn't watching TV, and I wasn't playing sports in there. I just worked out and studied and worked on myself. And so for you out here trying to get on your feet, take the time sometime to reflect. Take the time to write down your thoughts. Set goals for yourself. Have a direction you're going in. Once you have that, and it starts off with, like I told you guys before in another video, having you a vision board. And with that vision board, it'll help guide you so that you can take those steps to kind of at least see something that you're trying to work towards. If you live life just blindly, you'll go wherever the wind blows because you have no direction. If you hear something over here, you jump on that. If you hear something over here, you jump on that. Try to focus on creating your own original thoughts, your own original ideas of who you want to be. Not what somebody told you who you should be, but who you want to be, and that will make a difference in you going out there and achieving success. And my art of the comeback is, like I said, I never acclimated to prison. Yeah, I might have went to prison, but I didn't let that define me. And there's some good dudes in prison. I've seen some geniuses in there, super smart guys. You know, all they need to do is get out again. They've been in there, they've already learned their lesson. They don't need to still sit in there for years, but this is what's going on with the system. That's why the system's all fucked up. You got people in there for 20 years, they didn't need to be in there for no fucking 20 years. But, you know, they want to fill up bed space. But like I said, becoming institutionalized, that will destroy a person. That person, he will never be able to acclimate back into society and be normal because he's bought into that reality. And that's the hardest thing about prison. People think the physical, you know, people think, you know, the other bullshit. It's the mentally. They try to break your mind. Even on the street, you let somebody break your mind, and from there everything else crumbles. You got to hold on to that, to your mind, to your ability to think, to rationalize. You know, a lot of you guys let poverty, you let fear, you let lack of self-esteem destroy you. I was in a place where the self-esteem was challenged at its highest level, but I never let it encompass me. I never let it take me over. I held on to my dignity. I held on to my motherfucking self-esteem. And I didn't walk around in fear. What did I have to fear? I'm a man of God. I fear no one but the universe. And if I'm giving back to the universe in a positive nature, it's gonna receive and give back to me in a positive nature. I'm not doing anything negative, and I'm not promoting negativity. So therefore, I become one with the universe, and success will follow. That's my philosophy, and that's how I was able to do the art of the comeback. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm gonna stay lacing y'all up. Big Herc 916.